Everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to answer the question, does Golang make Docker unnecessary? Uh, Docker is a tool for packaging generally, and it has a lot of features, but in the same time, the main reason it was created was to make environments much more easier and versatile to deploy. What that means is, for example, if you are working with Ruby or Python or Node and you wanted to deploy your app and your app grows and the complexity comes, you might be needed some kind of like native libraries and all those things to be installed on an environment. And then from one computer to the other, it was much hard to like repeat this process. So Docker came and solved a huge problem on that for the apps which are really complex and need native communication, needs installations such as Node. Like you cannot run a Node.js app without Node environment being installed, and this is the same for many interpreted languages, even PHP. Now, some people are asking actually, does Golang, because it's being compiled to native code, solve this problem and we don't need the Docker anymore? The point is, for those who you don't know, there are very few languages which are actually compiled, and one of them is Go, and the other is C, C++. These languages are really compiled. They don't need an environment, they don't need a interpreter or any other tools than one exe file, like single executable file on Mac, on Windows is enough to get the web server running. Now, this is how every software should be written in, but companies came with the idea, okay, let's make it easier to develop. We create those binaries, and then some scripts will be read and parsed through these kind of binaries, such as Node environment. Um, the point is, Docker is still a valid thing, and you can use it with Go. There are a few scenarios. For example, the one I can think of is if you have kind of native code communications like CGO, and you want to compile your software always like in a scenario that all those dependencies are there. Docker could be an option if you're not including all those sources in your binary and you don't have machines to build them, and for specific targets, that could be one use. But again, you could bypass that and not use it if you like had some build setup which builds for specific platforms like older versions of Ubuntu server. Generally, all the apps written in Go which need kind of those native communications run on a specific computer forever, and that might be also a case to debate. Okay, we need it or we don't need it. In other cases, actually have a complete environment. You know, you have a complete environment of your software. Your MySQL is on that. Your MongoDB is on Docker, and you like to have a very good pipeline to set the backend up. Therefore, you can use the Docker with the Golang. But the important thing is you can compile your Golang and just put the binary inside the Docker. That actually helps you to track an actual version of your software, and then you don't need to like rebuild them each time you want to go to previous versions or testing. You just compile it, finish, and put it as a final product inside a Docker, and there is not much of a problem. The other point I want to really discuss is lots of projects, lots of apps actually do not need Docker. Like the Go compiled binary itself is enough. You can make a load balancer in front of it if you are using AWS anyway, DigitalOcean, these kind of products. All they have some kind of a load balancing scaling measures. Lots of people even don't need the Kubernetes. But unfortunately, it's being overused. I have seen a lot of projects like React, like totally front end and Angular, and then they are using Docker, and then the Docker file is just nothing. It's just like 5 lines of code and put everything inside it, and like they double the development time and to just say, hey, we have that. I think Go solves a lot of those problems because if you are like medium project, you might be a small company, but very very high traffic and like up to world scale. That's not video for you. But if you are building a project which might have like I don't know, hundred thousands of users, and they are not all the time interacting, and like you are good with just basic load balancers from AWS. You really don't need that Docker setup, especially if you want to put your database from a kind of like hosted and like SaaS service anyway. And those kind of setups are completely unnecessary. So the single binary is there. And I really think this is the power of a Golang, which compiles to native code, especially if you don't use Cgo for lots of backends and business logics written. I think 98%, 99% of the time it's enough. And you can just live with one binary, and this is a great thing to have. And my answer to the real question is yes, Golang reduces the need for the Docker for majority of us, majority of the projects, and it can make development much cheaper. Imagine like if you want to deploy your app in a Raspberry Pi in a much smaller environment, you don't want to have like cost of the Docker. And imagine if you're a startup and you have like 5 6 ideas, and then you like build 5 6 apps in Golang. Each of them use only 5 MB, 10 MB of RAM, and you can run like 20 apps. I mean, on a cheapest possible server, and this is a really good and powerful tool for you. And even if you have serious servers like real traffic, why would you want to spend all that money on infrastructure and then editing the Docker and then recompiling it, managing the images and all those things which are not really necessary for you? I hope this video helped you to some extent, because so a couple of years ago I couldn't answer this question. I thought maybe if I now share it with you, it's gonna much more be helpful. And please write some comments and ask and give also your opinion, and ask me questions if you have. I would be really glad to answer them. Have a nice day and talk to you very soon.